Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Your Stocks, coming live from the CNBC-TV18 Motilal Oswal studios. I'm Vinny Motiwala. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, it's a good Friday that's coming in for the markets. As of now, we're seeing 25,100 levels is what the Nifty is managing to hold on to even as of now. Looking at it, Nifty is up, how much? 115, 16 points as of now in the trading session. Sensex up almost 400 points. Approximately is what we're watching out for. Broader end of the market performing in tandem with the benchmark indices. Not much of a difference there, right? Mid cap is up 0.3%, so that is what we're watching out for. Small cap is up 0.5%, so in line with the benchmark indices. Keep an eye out on that. Let's look at Nifty PSU Bank as well, right? Because I think that's the one that was a bit subdued in today's trading session. But do not forget that this was the one that was gaining also in the last few trading sessions. So yes, some bit of that profit booking maybe we could see coming in on this side. But Nifty PSU Bank is something that is subdued in today's trading session. But that's the market setup that we are watching out for today. But your stock-related queries, that's what we'll be solving in the next 20-30 odd minutes. And to do just that, we do have Shahina Mukadam, independent market expert, as well as Vaishali Parekh, Vice President Technical Research at Prabhudas Lilladher, to answer all those queries. Shahina as well as Vaishali, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. And Shahina, I'm happy that you're here this Friday again to party with me as well. Wednesday was surely there, but Friday, glad to have you back. Let's get started with those queries then. And the first query for today we have is coming from Saket, who's writing to us from Hyderabad. He's holding 219 shares of Jupiter Wagons. The price is 445 rupees per share. They're making a loss on this one. Wants to know the future prospects of his investments. Jupiter Wagons, Shahina, your view coming in for this railway company. What are we watching out for? While concerns around, the execution seems to now be easing off. Recently, we've seen a bit of a run-up this week for Jupiter Wagons. That's some order wins as well. Now, what should we watch out for? And could they actually achieve their 445 buy price anytime soon?
Yeah, so good afternoon, everybody. And Vinny, thank you very much for having me on your show. I really enjoy talking to not only you, but your viewers also. They are pretty smart, callers and, the questions. So which actually enables me to learn, more than anything else. So that keeps me interested. As far as Jupiter Wagons goes, I feel that, your point that, the stock did move up because of the order win of about 113 odd crores that they had recently. But at the same time, I think this opportunity for a bounce should be taken to switch from Jupiter Wagons. A couple of issues. One is that valuations are expensive. If you look on EB by EBITDA basis, it is about 25 times, which in my view is quite expensive. And secondly, the financial performance has been a bit, variable. First quarter numbers were a bit disappointing. And I would believe that while the long term may be good because they are expanding capacity, in the shorter term, it makes sense to switch from Jupiter Wagons to some of the other stocks in the similar sector. I prefer those stocks rather than Jupiter.
Okay. Keep an eye on those other names rather than Jupiter. Shahina has given you other options. Vaishali, your view for Jupiter Wagons? On the charts and technicals, is there any indication that maybe, they could recover that some bit of a loss and they could see some traction coming in terms of better gains or something that you could watch out for from Jupiter Wagons?
Hi, very good afternoon, all of you. So I think Jupiter Wagons technically is very well placed. It may take a little while, but I think the way the chartical presentation is, I think 300 is acting as a very strong support. And it's a matter of time. Once you see some momentum setting in, this can go towards 400 levels. But if, time is the problem, then I think Titagar Wagon is a better, already in a good momentum and well-placed too. So if time is not a problem, I would say stick on to Jupiter Wagon and wait for a target, and otherwise shift to Titagar.
Okay. A shift to Titagar also is an option that comes in there. But let's move on to the next query for today. This is coming in from Walusa, who's writing to us from Chennai. He's holding 102 shares of JSW Cement allotted during the IPO time. Now, wants to know the future prospects of his investment. His holding time period, he wants to hold it just for around a year. Shahina, your view for JSW Cements, given that this GST boost that is coming in as well for the domestic players, how should one view JSW Cements?
Yeah, so the GST reduction is going to be a positive for volume growth for the overall sector. And also in terms of average realizations also, I think it would be better in current year FY26 versus the previous year. Having said that, I think, for the shorter term, GSW cement is more or less fully priced, but I would continue to suggest to continue to hold for more than a year, I would say, because currently the capacity is around 20 million tons, which they are talking of going up to about 26 million tons by end of FY26. So FY27, if you consider valuations, the average, per ton would be about $110 per ton. So, which in my view is not expensive for the longer term, given the fact that they're increasing their capacity across India, west, south, so and east, they already are there. So, I would say you continue to hold for the long term. Shorter term, you may see certain, fluctuations. You may continue to see it consolidate.
Okay. And Vaishali, I know it's not enough in terms of charts, but any view that you have here?
Well, I would say, of course, there is limited data and it has hardly shown any trend or any movement. But still, with whatever can be gauged from here, this stock is purely into consolidation. Only about 154, there can be some strength seen. And then gradually we can go step by step, look forward to a target of 165. And then on from there, if there is further strength, to 180 to 190 levels. So for now, it's a hold with a stop loss of 138.
Okay, hold with a stop loss of 138. That's the word on JSW Cements. Keep an eye on that. Let's move to the next query for today. Avanti Feeds, that's the stock that we'll talk about. Debalina is writing to us from Kolkata. It's an investment query and she's asking if she can buy the shares of Avanti Feeds for the short term, and she wants to know the target also. Shahina, Avanti Feeds for the short term this week, we had seen all these stocks buzzing in trade as well, right? There was some announcements that came in from the EU side. What are we keeping an eye out on? Avanti Feeds, or would you look at any other, the shrimp exporter companies?
No, I would avoid this whole sector.
Okay.
It is better to avoid, catching a falling knife. And we really don't know where the US tariffs are going. And US is a big market for Avanti, especially given the fact that 70% of their revenues come from there. And if the current tariffs continue, so average what they were paying is, if you include duties, tariff, etc., it was about 10% on an average. And that will now go up to almost 50%. So in my view, it's like a risk. Well, Q1 numbers were decent, but I would say that, better to switch and avoid entering into the sector altogether for now.
Okay, avoid the sector as of now is the word from Shahina. Vaishali, any short-term targets that you should keep an eye out on, or for you also this sector is something that you're avoiding?
In fact, it's a little bit different to what Shahina is saying, because sometimes, market always preempts as to what is to come. So purely on technical terms, I would say it is showing signs of reversal. And if it is for a short-term view, well, one can always get into a disciplined trading. 680 is the support level. So ideal level to get into the stock is 680 and keep a stop loss of 650, because there can be further strength above 750. That is a tough resistance, what we witnessed just yesterday. So it has not managed to move past that. So I would observe a range of 680 to 750. Beyond that, that could trigger further strength going towards 800, 830. So this is how I would manage this trade.
Okay, different views coming in there, but keep an eye out on Avanti Feeds and the levels that, Vaishali has mentioned right now. Let's move on to the next query then for today. We have J. Surya Das, who's writing to us from Patna. He's holding 830 shares of Fusion Finance. This is at a price of 330 rupees per share. Wants to know whether to hold or look to sell this one. Fusion Microfinance, Shahina, what's your view coming in for this one?
I would say, though he's making a loss quite a bit, but at the same time, it is better to exit and switch. It's largely into, microfinance, and, it's a north-based NBFC. Here, they are facing certain problems. They had some repayment problems also on their debt. And because of which, I think they did a rights issue very recently at about 131 rupees per share. So they would have some money on their hands, but I think it's a high risk story. And into microfinance, I don't even really, while the sector is looking up, I think it's better to switch. Valuations are not cheap even at current levels. So I would say switch or exit.
Switch or exit, that's a word coming in from Shahina. Vaishali, for you, Fusion Microfinance, what should they do? 330, right? It's like a very high price that they've bought it at versus what the stock is right now.
Well, so of course, my priority would be something like a Bajaj Finance or so on. But if you're already there and you are in a loss, I think wait for a bounce. Keep a stop loss of 170 because it is right now, technically sitting on a cluster of support of moving averages. So I would say hold on and exit in a bounce, and then from there on we can have a relook to get into the other stock.
Okay, surely keeping an eye out on those levels over there for Fusion Micro, but Switch is a better option. That is the word coming in there. But that's the word on Fusion. A quick check on what the market has done in the last 10 or 15 minutes as well. Nifty is where it is, right? 110 points up. But there are a lot of individual stocks today that are buzzing in trade as well. And in the last few minutes, I just want to pull up one chart. GMDC, let's pull that up, right? Gujarat Minerals. That's the one that's suddenly seen a spike up as well. It's 2% up in just the last 10-15 odd minutes, right, when I'm checking right now. So that is important to watch out for GMDC. Look at it. It was up, then it fell down, and again it's come up. So let's keep an eye out on that. JBM Auto, that's still continuing to trend in today's trading session as well. So that is managing to hold on to gains. 14% up now in trade, 14-15%. So that is another stock that we'll be keeping an eye out on, but that's on the back of news flow that it's buzzing in trade. On that note, we'll slip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll come back and, here's some good news that is coming in for our viewers as we're slipping into the break, because India's business news leader is now a click away. Introducing CNBC TV18's all-new app. Get instant access to breaking news, in-depth articles and financial world updates at your fingertips. Download the CNBC TV18 app from the Apple Store, Google Play Store, or you can just scan the QR code on the screens for you. Welcome back to Your Stocks on CNBC TV18. We still have with us Shahina Mukadam as well as Vaishali Parekh. Before I come to the next query, I just want to also highlight the defense names, right? They are buzzing in trade as well today. Look at the defense pack. Whether you look at a BEML, Bharat Dynamics, or even Data Patterns, all these names, all defense names, are surely managing to hold on to very good gains, almost 5 to 7% gains. And other than that, we have, Mascow Dock, Garden Reach Shipbuilders, even those shipbuilder stocks. That is also something that is managing to hold on to gain in today's trading session. So keep an eye out on these names in the last hour of trade as well. But let's move on and keep it going with the stock-related queries. A sector that's been buzzing for a while is going to be the EMS play, right? So this next query is coming in on Kaynes Technology. We have K. Narayanan, who's writing to us from Telangana. He's holding 40 shares of Kaynes Technology. This is at a price of 6,100 rupees per share. Short-term targets is what he's watching out for. Shahina, Kaynes Technology, there seems like it's just a short-term holding that they want to talk about. Your view on the short-term for Kaynes?
Well, I would say short-term, I still think that the stock may correct a bit. So you have the buying price that he has got, that could be, that is a worst case scenario. And short term also valuations are a bit expensive. If you look at the very short term next couple of months, it's okay about 55 times P. So it FY27. So yes, it is expensive, but I would say that continue to hold for a slightly longer period, a year at least, because the plant at Sanand, which is their OSAT plant, the semiconductor plant, is likely to come fully on stream in first, I would say January FY26, 2026. So I would say that hold, because not only are the revenues for current year targeted around 4,500 crores from the existing EMS, but going forward over the next 3 years, this new plant also is expected to double the revenues with decent margins. So I would say keep a long-term holding period. Don't be short-term in this stock.
Okay. Don't be short-term in the stock. It's a long-term story, and Shahina, recently we also had the management, so they also were saying that, for FY30, they were guiding an 1,800 to 2,000 crore PAT is what they're watching out for. They're talking about, expecting revenues of 1,500 crore just from that semicon side of the business by FY28. So all these are some of these triggers that maybe could work out. Valuation is one play, obviously, we have to keep an eye out on, but a long-term story is what Shahina is also highlighting. Vaishali, for your chartical point of view, short term, are there any triggers or targets that you would like to give them, or would you also say long term is a better story to hold on to? If you could give us both the targets.
Yes, so short term, I would not recommend a buy at least, but to those who are holding, even for a shorter term period, I would say keep a stop loss of 7,000 because it's already got into a very strong uptrend. The ideal buying opportunity was at around 6,000, 6,500 levels, So right now, I would say continue holding with a stop loss of 7,000 because if the momentum still continues, this can go towards 7,300 to 7,500. And long term perspective, well, it is very likely to cross the previous high of 7,800, and we have the next projected target of 8,300. So that's the way to go about for this stock.
Okay. Keep an eye out on those levels over there. Next query for today is coming in from Selva Kumar, who's writing to us from Bangalore. He's holding 690 shares of Karnataka Bank. Price is 216 rupees per share, so they're making a loss on this one. He's asking if we should remain invested for the next 1 year or exit at current levels, or even maybe look to average also. Shahina, what's your view?
The stock has actually corrected a bit in the first quarter because of the changes in management. The senior management had exited. But I think things are changing. We have Mr. Bhatt who's come on board now as the MD, and valuations are very attractive. I would think in the private sector, of course, it's a small cap bank, but it is really cheap. It's just about less than 0.6 times price to book. And in terms of growth, they are targeting good numbers. They are talking of, 1 year down the line or 2 years down the line, 85,000 crores type of book. So I would say continue to hold at current levels.
Continue
You can
to
average also.
Okay, can average and continue to hold at current levels. Vaishali, your view for this one. What is the target now for Karnataka Bank?
Well, I would say it's showing signs of bottoming out. So I would say you can add more at these levels because all the PSU banks have really not participated. And talking about Karnataka Bank, we have already seen a good erosion. So I think downside risk is very limited. At these levels, it's currently at a support level. So keep a stop loss. I'll tell you precisely, it is showing signs of bottoming out, a rounding formation at 170. So keep a stop loss of 170 and either add more or hold.
Okay. Add more or you can hold, keep a stop loss also is what Vaishali has indicated as well. We just have Texmaco Rail, let's pull that chart up. They've bagged an order of 129 crores from RVNL. These railway stocks in the recent week, we've seen a lot of order wins that have come in, and right now Texmaco Rail is up almost 3%, 3-odd%. So keep an eye out on it. After that order win, we saw a bit of a spike up that's come in for Texmaco Rail. Shifting focus back to those queries that you all have sent us, we have Praveen Kumar who's writing to us from Kerala, and he's asking if he can accumulate Himadri Specialty Chemicals in every dip for the long term. Shahina, your view for this stock?
Yeah, that would be a good strategy to accumulate at dips because maybe for the shorter term valuations may look about 20 times EV to EBITDA, which is not cheap. But and the first half also is likely to be a bit weak. Even the quarter was weak in terms of revenues. Profits were decent because raw material costs, crude oil prices were lower, so they had the benefit of that. But second half, the capacity constraints that they are facing is likely to be sorted out. And also with OEMs, the demand for auto picking up, they are the raw material that goes in over there also for tires. So that actually should be a positive for the second half. I would say you can continue to accumulate at lower levels and hold it for a year plus.
Okay, that's a view coming in there. Accumulate at lower levels, hold it for a year or plus over there. Vaishali, your view?
Well, I would say so, that continue to hold. My views are the same as Shina's. But I would say the strength on a technical front would be confirmed above 500. So till then, it would be a sideways move, but above 500, it would trigger a good strength.
Okay, above 500 is where it could trigger a good strength. But does this make it a right price to buy right now on the technical front? Is it okay if they start adding?
I would say so because 440 is a triple bottom formation right now. If you see the near term support, so that acts as a very good support level. So risk reward ratio also is quite favorable at these levels.
Okay. Next query is coming in from Narayan, who's writing to us from Bangalore. 200 shares of Tata Tech. Average price is 857 rupees. Still making a loss on this one. Tata Tech, Shahina?
Yeah, it has been a disappointing performance for a stock which is led by such a strong management. but the valuations remain expensive. That is the biggest problem. If you look at it in terms of growth, the growth is subdued. Mainly because they are suffering in terms of their services business. The other business part is good, but it is facing a bit of a slowdown. So I would say that yes, you can switch. I would say you can switch to something like an Emphasis, which with a market cap of around 55,000 crores, in terms of valuation is also much better placed. So I would say it's a switch.
Okay, switch and Emphasis maybe is also a better place. Story is what Shahina is highlighting. Vaishali, your view for Tata Technologies, right? On the charts and technicals, what should they be doing? And they've given an average price, so I'm assuming they've already done some averaging. Does it merit averaging more, or any levels that they should keep an eye out on now?
I would say hold on, because it is showing signs of improvement even on the weekly chart. So I think for now, it's very likely that this person will get its buy price that is at around 800 levels. That would be a level to watch, because if we see some exhaustion over there, then that means the stock doesn't have so much of a strength. But if it sustains above 800, then I think it's ready for a takeoff.
Okay. Keep an eye out on those levels over there as well. Continue to hold. That's a word on the technical front. With that, actually, we're out of time on this edition of Your Stocks. So, Shahina as well as Vaishali, thank you so much for joining us as always, and hope you all have a great weekend. And viewers, thank you so much as always for tuning in. Happy weekend to all of you all as well. But remember that email address on top. You can send us all your stock-related queries, and we'll get them solved on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 2 p.m. Thank you so much for tuning in. Up next, you have Closing Bell now to take you through the last hour of trade.